There is a question most men over 60 carry quietly, privately, and almost never say out loud, not to their doctor, not to their closest friend, not even to their partner. And that question is this: is what I am doing still healthy for me at my age? How often is the right amount? And why does nobody ever give me a straight answer? Today, that silence ends. I'm Dr. Hana, a urologist with over 30 years of experience helping men like you regain their energy, performance, and vitality. If you're new here, welcome to the channel. Before we go any further, if you're serious about protecting your prostate, staying strong, and living without fear, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. I share real information backed by real science for men just like you. And if this topic matters to you, type 1 in the comments and tell me where in the world you're watching from. If not, type 0 so I know how to help you better next time. Now, let's get into it. In over 3 decades of urology practice, I have sat across from thousands of men who carried this question in silence. Men who were vibrant, intelligent, deeply self-aware, and yet completely in the dark about one of the most fundamental aspects of their own biological health. And the silence was never their fault. It was the system's failure, a failure of medical culture to treat this as the serious physiological conversation it deserves to be. Because here is the truth that most doctors never say clearly enough. Your sexual rhythm after 60 is not just about pleasure. It is a direct window into your prostate health, your circulation, your hormonal balance, and your nervous system resilience. When your rhythm is right, those systems flourish. When it is wrong, either too frequent or too infrequent, those systems quietly suffer. Today, I am going to give you the complete picture, the biology, the warning signs, the sweet spot, and a practical self-tuning system you can begin using immediately. By the end of this conversation, you will understand your body at a level most men never reach, and you will have a clear, dignified, science-backed path forward. Stay with me because what I'm about to share in the middle of this video is the part that changes everything. Before we can build the right framework, we have to tear down the wrong ones. Because the most damaging thing in a man's sexual health journey after 60 is not age. It is misinformation. And there is no shortage of it. You have probably heard some version of these 3 pieces of advice at some point in your life. Stop entirely and save your energy. Do it every single day for prostate health or somewhere in between. Just do it as often as feels natural, with no further guidance at all. Each of these carries a fragment of truth buried inside a much larger misunderstanding. Let me show you why. The first myth: stopping entirely protects your health. This is perhaps the most medically harmful belief a man over 60 can hold, and I want to be very direct about why. Inside the penis is a specialized tissue called the corpora cavernosa. Think of it as a sponge made of smooth muscle and elastic fibers. Its entire function depends on one thing: regular expansion. When blood rushes in during an erection, this tissue is stretched, oxygenated, and kept supple. When that happens consistently, the tissue remains healthy, flexible, and responsive. But when a man avoids sexual activity for extended periods, something begins to happen inside that tissue that most men have no idea about. Without regular oxygenation and expansion, the body begins replacing the elastic tissue with collagen, scar tissue. This process is called fibrosis, and it is not reversible through willpower or desire alone. The tissue literally becomes stiffer over time, making full, firm erections physically more difficult to achieve. Think of a leather glove that has never been worn. Left in a drawer for years, it dries, shrinks, and cracks. You cannot restore it simply by wanting to wear it. The damage has already set in. Regular sexual rhythm is the biological equivalent of keeping that glove supple, flexible, and ready. The second myth, more is always better. This one is equally dangerous, just in the opposite direction. And I see the consequences of it constantly in men who are well-intentioned but unknowingly draining the very systems they are trying to maintain. Sexual climax is one of the most neurologically demanding events your body performs. It requires a massive coordinated surge from your nervous system, your adrenal glands, your cardiovascular system, and your hormonal pathways. In your 20s, those systems recovered within hours. After 60, the recovery window is longer, more nuanced, and far less forgiving. When you push frequency beyond what your recovery window allows, your nervous system cannot fully replenish its neurotransmitter stores. Your adrenal glands fall behind. The dopamine surge, that should feel like satisfaction and calm, instead turns into depletion, brain fog, irritability, and fatigue. You are essentially writing checks your body can no longer cash at the same speed it once could. And here is something critical. When men push frequency too hard, they often blame the resulting weakness on age. They assume the body is simply failing. In most cases, what is actually happening is a circulation and nervous system overdraft. Not aging, not decline, just a rhythm that is off by a few days. The third and most important piece of truth. The prostate needs regular flushing. This is where science becomes very specific and very empowering. A landmark study out of Harvard following tens of thousands of men over many years found something remarkable. Men who ejaculated regularly, roughly 4 to 7 times per month, had a statistically significant reduction in the risk of prostate complications compared to men who rarely or never did. Here is why. Your prostate is a fluid-producing gland. It is active, secreting constantly, and those secretions need somewhere to go. Regular ejaculation acts as a biological flushing mechanism for the gland. It clears congestion, moves blood freely through the tissue, reduces inflammatory pressure, and keeps the ducts clean and functional. When the prostate becomes congested, which happens readily in men who are infrequent, the surrounding nerves and blood vessels are placed under pressure. That pressure degrades sexual function, increases inflammation risk, and contributes to the discomfort many men over 60 quietly accept as simply part of getting older. It is not simply part of getting older. It is a solvable problem with a specific rhythm-based solution. So, let us recap before we go deeper. Too little activity leads to tissue fibrosis and prostate congestion. Too much activity leads to nervous system and hormonal depletion. The answer sits in a specific science window that most men have never been told about. And that window, along with the 5 warning signs that tell you whether you are inside or outside, it is exactly what we cover next. The 5 signals your body is sending you right now. Your body is not silent about your rhythm. It speaks clearly, consistently, and in language that is entirely readable once you know what to listen for. These are the 5 most common signals I see in clinical practice. And each one tells you something precise about where your rhythm currently stands. Signal 1, the morning after fog. You wake up the day after sexual release and something feels off. Not dramatically, not dangerously, but undeniably. A heaviness behind the eyes, a flatness in your mood, a reluctance to engage with the morning that feels different from ordinary tiredness. This is your nervous system speaking. Specifically, it is your adrenal glands telling you they were not given enough time to recover before the next demand was placed on them. The dopamine and adrenaline released during climax are powerful and finite resources. When your system cannot replenish them fully between sessions, the morning after carries that deficit in the form of fog, low mood, and depleted motivation. If you recognize this feeling, the solution is simple and precise. Add 2 to 3 days to your current interval. The fog will lift. Your mornings will return to their natural baseline, and the next experience will feel noticeably richer because the system had time to fully recharge. Signal 2, weaker response requires more effort. This one concerns men deeply and understandably so. You notice that achieving fullness takes longer than it used to, that the process requires more concentrated effort and more physical stimulation to reach the same result. And you begin to wonder if this is age, if this is permanent, if this is the beginning of a longer decline. In the majority of cases I see, it is not age. It is vascular fatigue. During sexual activity and climax, the blood vessels of the pelvis and the penile tissue undergo repeated cycles of rapid dilation and constriction. That process is demanding for the delicate lining of your blood vessels, called the endothelium. When those vessels are not given adequate recovery time, they become temporarily less responsive to the nitric oxide signal that triggers blood flow. The result is a response that requires more work for less result. Rest the vascular system for 4 to 5 days. The responsiveness returns. The effort decreases. The result improves not because you are younger, but because the system has been allowed to complete its natural recovery cycle. Signal 3. Pelvic ache or pressure the day after. A dull heaviness in the area between the scrotum and the lower abdomen. A sense of pressure or mild discomfort in the pelvic floor the morning after sexual activity. This signal is specific and important, and it is one I take very seriously in my clinic. This is your prostate telling you it has been asked to work faster than its recovery allows. The prostate is actively involved in ejaculation, producing fluid and coordinating muscular contractions. When the interval between sessions is too short, the gland and its surrounding tissue do not have time to recover from that muscular demand. The result is a localized congestion that manifests as pressure or ache. When men discover that this ache disappears entirely after 4 or 5 days of rest and returns, when they try to maintain a shorter interval, they have found their lower limit. The body has drawn a clear line. Listen to it. Signal 4. Morning erections becoming rare or absent. Spontaneous erections, particularly upon waking, are not random events. They are a biological maintenance function. While you sleep, your body cycles through periods of increased blood flow to the penile tissue specifically to oxygenate and maintain the elasticity of the corpora cavernosa. The presence of regular morning erections is one of the clearest signs that your circulation and neurological function are healthy. When those erections become infrequent or stop occurring altogether, and you have not been sexually active for 10 days or more, your body is signaling stagnation. The tissue is not being maintained. The circulation is sluggish. The neurological pathways have quieted too much. This is the infrequency warning, and it is just as serious as the overfrequency warnings above. Your body needs the rhythm not for pleasure, but for the biological housekeeping that keeps the entire system functional. Signal 5. Guilt, tension, or anxiety surrounding the activity itself. This is the signal most men never mention to their doctors, and it may be the most consequential of all 5. When shame or guilt enters the picture, even mildly, the sympathetic nervous system activates. This is your fight or flight response governed by cortisol, the stress hormone. And cortisol is a potent vasoconstrictor. It physically narrows your blood vessels and reduces blood flow to the very tissues that sexual function depends on. This means that guilt does not just feel uncomfortable. It biologically undermines the health benefits you are seeking. A man who engages in sexual self-care while carrying shame is working against himself at a physiological level. The cortisol is counteracting the oxytocin. The anxiety is fighting the dopamine. The stress is shutting down the circulation. The reframe I offer every man who sits across from me with this concern is simple and clinical. This is not indulgence. This is prostate maintenance. This is tissue oxygenation. This is nervous system regulation. When you approach it as the intentional evidence-based health practice it is, the guilt loses its biological grip on your body. Before we go further, if this video is giving you clarity and confidence about your own health, please subscribe right now and turn on notifications. I release this kind of honest, science-backed guidance regularly, and the next video may be the one that answers the question you have been carrying longest. Do not miss it. Now, the moment you have been waiting for, the sweet spot, your personal rhythm, blueprint. The Harvard data points to a specific range, 4 to 7 ejaculations per month. Averaged out, this translates to roughly once every 4 to 7 days. This is not a preference or a suggestion. It is the frequency range that the largest and most rigorous research on male prostate health identifies as protective, sustainable, and biologically optimal for men in later life. But here is what I tell every man in my practice. That range is a starting line, not a finish line. Because your body is not a Harvard dataset. It is your unique biology with its own recovery speed, its own hormonal baseline, its own vascular resilience. The research gives us the window. Your job is to find your specific position within it, and I'm going to give you the exact system to do that. Part 1. Start with the 4-day baseline. For the first 2 weeks, maintain a rhythm of once every 4 days, consistent and deliberate. This gives your prostate the flushing frequency it needs while allowing your nervous system enough recovery time to avoid the depletion signals we discussed earlier. During these 2 weeks, notice do not change anything. Simply observe how you feel the morning after activity. Notice your energy levels by the afternoon. Notice whether morning erections are present or absent. Notice whether your mood is stable or slightly flattened. You are gathering data about your own body. This is the foundation of the self-tuning process. Part 2. Read the feedback with precision. After 2 weeks on the 4-day rhythm, you will have enough data to make an intelligent adjustment. If you experience morning fog, reduced energy, or pelvic ache, your recovery window is longer than 4 days. Move to a 5 or 6 day interval. Give the systems more space. The discomfort will resolve. The response will sharpen, and the experience will feel more rewarding. If you completed the 2 weeks with consistently strong energy, full morning erections, no pelvic discomfort, and by the 4th day, you felt a mild internal restlessness or tension, your recovery window is shorter than 4 days, You can safely move to a 3-day interval without depleting the system. If everything felt balanced, if the mornings were clear, the response was strong, the mood was stable, and you felt no particular urgency or discomfort by the 4th day, you have found your baseline. Stay there. That 4-day rhythm is your body's preferred operating frequency. Part 3. Maintain the supporting systems. Frequency alone is not enough. The rhythm works only when the underlying systems are functioning well. These 3 pillars determine the quality of every experience and the speed of every recovery. The first pillar is vascular nutrition. Nitric oxide is the molecule that signals your arteries to relax and allow blood to rush into the penile tissue. After 60, your natural nitric oxide production declines. You can counteract this directly through food. Beet juice or fresh beets provide one of the most concentrated sources of natural nitrates that your body converts into nitric oxide. 1 small glass daily makes a measurable difference in arterial flexibility. Dark leafy greens such as spinach and arugula provide a sustained daily source of these same nitrates. Watermelon contains citrulline, a precursor to nitric oxide, and nuts and seeds provide arginine, another direct building block. These are not supplements. These are foods that speak directly to the biology of your circulation and your sexual function. The second pillar is sleep architecture. Testosterone, the hormone that drives desire, spontaneous erections, and recovery speed, is produced and peaks during your deepest sleep cycles. Poor sleep does not just make you tired. It directly reduces your morning testosterone levels and slows the recovery of every system involved in sexual health. Make your bedroom completely dark. Digital light suppresses melatonin, which disrupts testosterone production downstream. Keep the room slightly cool, around 65 degrees Fahrenheit or 18 degrees Celsius. Stop screens 1 hour before sleep. Cut off water intake 2 hours before bed to reduce nighttime bathroom interruptions, which fragment your deep sleep cycles and cut into the hormonal recovery window your body depends on. The third pillar is pelvic floor strength. The muscles of the pelvic floor are responsible for maintaining the pressure that keeps blood trapped inside the penile chambers during an erection. When these muscles weaken, blood leaks out faster, firmness is harder to sustain, and the experience becomes less satisfying and more effortful. 3 times per week, not daily, perform 3 sets of 10-kilo contractions. Locate the correct muscles by imagining you are stopping the flow of urine midstream. Hold each contraction for 5 seconds. Release slowly and with full control. The release is as important as the squeeze. Overdoing this exercise creates tension and tightness that worsens function rather than improving it. 3 times per week, performed with full attention, is the precise dose. When these pieces align, when the frequency is right, the nutrition is supporting your vessels, the sleep is producing your testosterone, and the pelvic floor is functioning at its capacity. What you experience is not just physical improvement. It is something that touches every part of how you move through the world as a man. The first gift is mental clarity. When your rhythm is correct, the post-climax release of oxytocin, endorphins, and prolactin lands differently instead of the foggy depletion of an overworked system. You feel a genuine calm, a quiet satisfaction, a lowering of your ambient stress level that stays with you for the next 24 to 48 hours. Your patience increases, your focus sharpens, your tolerance for frustration widens. This is not a sexual benefit. It is a cognitive and emotional benefit that flows directly from a well-maintained biological system. The second gift is restored confidence and spontaneity. The deepest fear I hear from men in my clinic is not about frequency or technique. It is about command. The fear that the body will fail to respond when it matters most. That the moment will come and the answer will be silence. When you maintain a healthy rhythm, you are maintaining the physical readiness that eliminates that fear. The tissue is oxygenated. The vessels are responsive. The nervous system is primed. When an opportunity arises, your body answers. That quiet readiness, that simple, reliable response translates into a confidence that extends far beyond the bedroom. It changes how you carry yourself, how you engage with your partner, how you view your own place in the aging process. You are not watching vitality leave. You are actively choosing to keep it. The third gift is the foundation for deeper intimacy with your partner. For men in relationships, a healthy personal rhythm does something that is often overlooked. It keeps the system sensitive, responsive, and primed for genuine desire rather than mechanical performance. When the pressure is managed through intentional self-maintenance, you approach your partner not with anxiety about what might or might not happen, but with genuine presence, genuine desire, and a body that is ready to follow where the moment leads. The intimacy becomes less about performance and more about connection, less about the outcome and more about the experience. That shift from performance anxiety to genuine presence is one of the most profound things a man can bring to a relationship at any age. Gentlemen, I want to leave you with something I say to every man who sits across from me in my clinic after this kind of conversation. You are not broken. You are not declining on a fixed and inevitable schedule. You are a sophisticated biological system that is asking for something very specific. Not indulgence, not excess, not denial. Rhythm. Intelligent, intentional, science-informed rhythm. The difference between a man who feels frustrated, depleted, and resigned about his sexual health after 60, and a man who feels capable, confident, and vitally alive is almost never about anatomy. It is almost always about information, about having someone sit across from you and speak plainly about what your body needs and why. You now have that information. Here is your assignment for the next 30 days. Begin the 4-day baseline. Observe your signals honestly. Adjust in one direction based on what you find. Add the 3 supporting pillars: the nutrition, the sleep, the pelvic floor work. And at the end of 30 days, write to me in the comments and tell me what changed, because something will change. Something always does when a man stops guessing and starts listening to his own body with clarity and intention. If this conversation gave you something real today, I have one request. Hit the like button so that this information reaches more men who are carrying this question in silence. Subscribe if you have not already and drop one word in the comments below. The word is ready. Let me know you are taking this seriously. Let me know you are choosing intentional mastery over quiet resignation. Your body has not given up on you. Do not give up on it. I am Dr. Hanamore, and I will see you in the next